Sleep, there's that I'm wide awake, I'm half asleep, I'm full sleep, right? There's those states, and there's technical name for those. There's technical names for those states, but I'm in that state between being wide awake and half asleep. And as I'm falling into that sleep, I feel something stick its finger into my mouth, like a finger slides through my lips into my mouth, and I bite down, like like I bite, and I get this taste, this earthy slash metallically like metal, but it's distinctly earthy, like dirt. It's like if someone took tin foil, and they wrapped dirt, and it was dirty, but it was more dirt than foil. But it's that taste, right?
Okay.
When I bite down, and I open my eyes, and there's nothing there. But I know I bit down because I felt it on my teeth, and I'm like, okay, what the hell? So my girl is laying in the bed next to me, but we're laying back to back, so she's on the other end of the bed. So I roll over. I'm like, hey, babe, you all right? Did I just bite you? And she's like, no, go to sleep. You're making too much noise. I'm tired. Like, get away from me. I'm like, okay, so that wasn't her. But I'm freaked out. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back to sleep. I don't pray at that point in time. Because, again, Gary, I didn't understand the spiritual rules of protecting myself. So like, I'm going to go back to sleep. So I start falling back to sleep about 10 minutes later. And I physically feel the finger go in my nose. And it ain't no little short finger. It goes in my nose, down my nasal passage, into my throat, and I can feel it touching my esophagus. But I feel it. And my reaction this time is I reach up and I grab. And when I grab, I'm coming out of my sleep, waking up, and I'm grabbing, and I feel and I have big hands. I played football, played middle linebacker, I bodybuild. I got huge hands. If you ever saw me, like, dude, you got to have normally big hands. And so I squeeze and I feel it, this like forearm. You know how if you were to grab your forearm right now, you have that bone, not your forearm, if you grab your wrist, you have the bone, you have the front side, the top side is like a little knob, and then on the other side there's just this smaller knob, but it's flat. And then between there's a flat region, and then it goes back. I feel the knob, and I feel the flat part, and I feel bone. And then when I open my eyes, there's nothing there. But I know I felt it. And I'm like, oh, holy crap. And I don't know what to do, man.
That'd be scary.
Dude, I don't know what to do. So I don't want to wake her up and freak her out. So I just get up out of the bed, and I go out to the porch. There's a little balcony. And I sit there, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I know I felt this. I know without a doubt I felt this. There's no doubt that I felt this. So the only thing I could think to do was, I grabbed my phone. I started playing pastors that were on YouTube. I play like T.D. Jakes. I play like this guy from South Africa. I play a guy from Ireland. I play a guy from China. And I sit there smoking a cigar and listening to like just pastors preach until sunrise. Like literally when I went back in the house, it was getting light outside. And I go back and I get back in the bed. That following evening, I leave to come back to New Orleans and come home. Everything is cool. I kind of got an eerie feeling at home, but nothing major. Well, I would say about midnight that night, my girl calls me and she says, babe, I could have swore you were in the bed with me because something was messing with my face. I said, well, what do you mean? She's like, it was rubbing on my cheek. I thought it was you messing with me while I was asleep, but I realized that you were gone. And I'm like, okay. Then I got angry. I'm like, okay, it's one thing to mess with me because, this is what I'm doing. But to mess with her, she's like the sweetest soul in the world. Like, she ain't worried about no demons. She ain't worried about nothing. She's just a happy person. So then I said, okay, I got to figure out how to protect myself. And that started me on the road to understanding how to spiritually protect myself. Because then I called a demonologist. I'm like, yo, bro, you got to break this stuff down to me because this is what happened. This is what's going on. And he starts laughing on the phone. He's the coolest. His name was Kenneth Deal. Kenneth is the coolest dude on the planet. He's like, yeah, it's messing with you, bro, because you butted in his business. Like, demonic entities don't like people getting in his business. And he's like, you got to understand you're in a unique position to where God blessed you with the ability to articulate stories and to captivate an audience. So not only did you button his business, but it's found a bright light that can talk about it. He was like, I need you to do these prayers for 7 days, and then I need you to not talk about it for a while and kind of let it go. He's like, but in between now and then, don't be surprised if little weird stuff starts happening. He didn't say stuff, he used the S word. If little weird stuff starts happening. And he was like, you know, they have a way of messing with you, and they hit us all at our weak points. So if you have like, he was like, if your finances are a little bit off, it'll hit you in a way that'll affect your finances. If your love life is a little bit off, it'll hit you in a way that affects your love life. He's like, so just pay attention to what happens. I'm like, all right. Get off the phone. 2 days later, I had literally just bought a brand new washing machine. The washing machine breaks. I mean, it just breaks, like straight up broken. Call the repair dude. He's like, yo, it don't make no sense, man. You know, this is crazy. This is brand new. It doesn't make any sense why they did this. After that, the dryer breaks. And those two things break, and I keep on doing the prayers, and then it stops. So it just goes to show you, and that's kind of circling back to what we were talking about, the mystic. Like, when you butt into these entities' business, you know, they take revenge.
Yeah.
They take it personally.
Well, from what she told me, it was pretty bad. But then I guess she got another friend or a minister or somebody she knew, and they did it, whatever they did, and then it went away. But she said it was getting bad where, like the scratching, bruising and stuff like that. So, I mean, I guess it can get really, really bad.
No, it can. It really can. And
I mean, you lucked out.
But that's why I really believe I did. I really believe I did luck out. But again, it goes. I firmly believe that things, when it comes to that spiritual realm, the things that happen to you are being allowed to happen. For me personally, not you or anybody else. The things that are happening to me are being allowed to happen to me, and it's only going to be what I can handle at that point in time.
Yeah.
Right? Now, what scares me, I'm going to tell you what really scares me, Gary, is that now that I understand how to protect myself, what's coming next is what scares me. Because it's like, okay, in my philosophy is what happens to me is what allowed to happen to me. That happened to me, and I wasn't prepared for what was coming, right? Now I'm prepared. Why am I being prepared? What's coming next? That's what scares me.
Yeah, I mean, from, the people you talk to, I mean, what is the scariest, boy, you caused me now to start losing my voice. What was the scariest conversation you ever had with somebody where it really scared you?
I had a lot of those. I'll tell you the most recent one. There's a couple of type of people that call me, right? There's people who had cryptid encounters, right? Dog man, Bigfoot, lizard man, something like that. Those people they go to a certain location and they have an encounter. They're driving in a car and they have an encounter. There's people who have like ghostly demonic encounters, right? But then there's people who readily accept the paranormal, ghostly, demonic things, and they kind of habituate it, or that's not the right word, habitate it. They accept it into their life. I don't know which word the right word to use for that, but they accept it. It's a part of them. One of the most scary recent conversations I had was with a guy who was like, yo, Doc, I wanted to talk to you because, your family's in the hoodoo, my family's in the hoodoo, and, I have this shadow person that talks to me. And I've learned, Gary, over time that the first thing you never, ever, ever do with any person, and this is not in a paranormal, is you never offend anyone. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know who you're offending, right? You never know who that person is, who they know, what they're capable of. So my philosophy has always been, I treat everybody kindly. And that's just part of it, self-preservation. Part of it is a part of being a gentleman. The other part of it is just being smart.
Right,
and so I'll listen to anybody talk. And the thing about listening is I actually actively listen. And if you actively listen, then you visualize what the person is saying. And that's how come I'm always able to remember stories that people tell me, because I'm an active listener, which forces me to visualize, all right? Which the visualization forces me to memorize what you're saying. All right, so kind of background. Well, this guy is telling me about a shadow man that has been around him since he was a kid, and how the shadow man actually influences him to do negative things. And most people would listen to a person like that and be like, oh, this SOB is crazy. He wasn't crazy. Guy wasn't crazy. Extremely intelligent person. Off the bat, the way the conversation started, I'll talk to crazy people who I say within the first 10 seconds, like, okay, this guy's a Looney Tune. I'm going to figure out how to get off the phone with this person. This guy wasn't crazy. He literally was telling the truth. And he starts talking about this entity and how it affects his life, how it's forced him to do very negative things that forced him to go to jail and all the rest of it. But what scared me about the conversation was, it was a part of him. It was a part of his decision-making process. It was his counsel. You see what I'm saying? It's like me saying to you, if I told you, Barney, the dinosaur, was who I counseled to decide if I was going to buy a car. You know what I'm saying? Or if I talked to SpongeBob to decide if I was going to get a mortgage. That's how crazy it sounds. But at the same time, he wasn't lying. Because I probably talked to about 1,000 people on this phone who told me stories. I know when someone's lying to me just by listening to them, listening to what they're saying, how they're saying it, how it flows off their tongue. You can tell if they're lying. Now, everyone hesitates when they tell a story. Everyone has pauses and breaks. Some of them are due to taking breaths. Some of them are due to them remembering what happened. And some of them are due to them kind of adding and embellishing the story. There was no embellishments. There was nothing made up. This guy was straight telling it like it is. And he was like, I see this guy, this shadow person all the time. My son sees him. We have arguments. I've had to force him to leave because he was negatively affecting me with my wife. And the guy was telling the truth. He was flat out telling the truth. And I was like, oh, this is freaky. I stayed on the phone with him about an hour. And I didn't get off the phone with him because I was afraid I got off the phone because I had something else to do. And then this is how I believe God works. Normally, I would get about 2 calls a day, right? This phone, I use a burner app. And the burner app pretty much tracks the phone numbers. But it knocks out your number after 10 calls. If I don't save your name with the number, then it knocks you out because, it can only hold 10 numbers. Well, that day, 15 people called me after I talked to him. And it was weird because my phone just kept ringing. It was like, ring, ring, and I would answer, somebody would hang up, and I talked to one person. It just kept ringing. And now when I look back on it, that guy's number was put, because I had every intention of calling him back. His number was pushed out of the call log on that particular app that I use. So I can't call him back, which that made it even more scary. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, okay, I talked to this guy. I believe him. This seems to be authentic. And then his number is pushed out of the phone. It's pushed. It's gone. I couldn't call him back if I wanted to right now. Now, if he hears his interview, he may text me and call me and be like, yo, I heard you talking about me, and I'll talk to him. But that particular day, he was pushed out of the phone.
For a reason, probably.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's for a reason. And I'll tell you, that goes back to Miss Sally Ann Glassman. Now, have you ever heard of Sally Ann Glassman?
No, I have not.
She's I want to say it's a Voodoo practitioner, Hoodoo Voodoo, one of the two. Practitioner here in New Orleans. She consults to the stars, like Sandra Bullock will call her in to cleanse her house. Like the upper echelon of society calls her in to remove negative entities from her house. That same day, that he called me was the same day